If you grew up watching anime and cartoons in the early 2000s, chances are you remember a distinctive show about 5 superhero girls who undergo a particular transformation phase before they can continue fighting evil. Yep, I'm talking about Tokyo Mew Mew, also known as Mew Mew Power, after the American localization, and its parasite-infected animals as villains of the week. We've got characters that transform into cats, parakeets, porpoises, golden lion tamarins, and even a gray wolf superhero. Mind you, they don't literally transform into these animals, they just activate the animal powers that they gained after their bodies merged with the DNA of endangered species after a particular incident, something we're going to talk about right away in this video. Longtime fans may know about the existence of the American localization by 4Kids named Mew Mew Power, but what they might not be aware of are the vast differences these two versions have. From character names and weapon changes to age changes, character changes, and even alien changes, the list is quite prolific, so without stretching this intro out any further, let's dive on in. One girl's solo pitch becomes a 5-girl team. What we see on TV now, and the manga we see on people's bookshelves these days, those weren't originally what Mia Ikumi had planned. Before being named Tokyo Mew Mew, the draft was called Tokyo Black Cat Girl, and it followed the story of Hime Azumi. Hime had been bestowed with cat-like powers by a strange intergalactic police officer named Masha, yep, you heard that right, and she could now help fight off alien inviters, called Bagus, who had come to take over Earth. She took this rough plot idea and went to the editors of Kodansha Comics, and hear this out, it was published in the winter issue of Nakayoshi magazine in 1999. However, the editors wanted some changes to the main plot and heroine, with 5 female superheroes instead of just one black cat, and a shift from a deeply serious tone to a more upbeat one. They could really see the vision and potential these changes would bring to the manga. Apart from this, the editors brought in writer Reiko Yoshida to help direct the flow of writing and the creation of this scenario, which was unusual because it's typically the manga writer themselves who handles the production aspects of the story. So, while Yoshida helped with dialogue and stage directions, Mia Ikumi continued with her illustrations, tweaking things here and there, as and when required. Now, even after all these changes to the initial draft of The Black Cat, there was one detail that transferred from the draft to the revised storyline, and that is Police Officer Masha's name being reused for the talking robot mascot that the girls have, Robot R2000, directly connecting the abandoned draft to the show that everyone actually saw. This robot was given to them by Rio, the scientist overseeing the Mew project, to help locate Chimera anima, parasite-infused animals turned monsters, and Mew Aqua, a very vital substance that helps defeat the aliens. So what started as a pitch for one main heroine by Mia Ikumi ended up taking a pivot for the better, giving us what we have today. A manga centered on 5 female superheroes taking on alien monsters who have come to reclaim the Earth. The show went through 3 title changes before sticking with Mew Mew Power for the American localization. 4Kids didn't just accidentally settle on Mew Mew Power. Their first considered option was Hollywood Mew Mew, a rebranding that attempted to package the show in its entirety, not as a Japanese magical girl-type anime, but as an American showbiz story. Hollywood Mew Mew, incidentally, isn't a totally dead end for the title, as it became the title of a mid-season episode centered around a Hollywood-style secret identity issue. Before Hollywood Mew Mew was scrapped entirely, the title The Mew Mews was tested when it was announced at the end of the closing narration of the very first episode that aired. This just points to the fact that they were still toying with potential names for the anime, even though it had already started to air. The American season premiere that actually wasn't the premiere? The American Mew Mew Power started with a premiere that isn't even actually the premiere in the Japanese original. 4Kids TV, the American television programming block that broadcast the series, released the original anime's episode 12 as the premiere, where Aoyama, or Mark in the American version, meets Ichigo, his love interest, in her Mew form. Here, instead of Mark frowning upon this revelation, he's seen smiling and accepting her for who she is, and instead of Ichigo, or Zoe, panicking and running away, we see her happily respond to Mark's gesture. And this decision wasn't a stylistic choice either. 4Kids had initially planned a different sneak peek pilot for the fall of 2004, but the series ultimately premiered with this episode instead. The real premiere of the anime was one where the origin of the Mew Mew girls is shown. The premiere follows a large crowd attending an exhibit of an endangered species, including the team leader Ichigo and her crush, Masaya. Later, an earthquake has everyone in the exhibit shaken, with things and people thrown off balance, but in the midst of it all, there was one group of girls who got covered in a strange, puzzling light. When this happens, Ichigo notices a cat suddenly appear before her before getting inside her body. Yep, that sounds weird, all right, but after this cat merges with her body, she even starts to act like a cat the next morning. Soon, the main scientists, Ryo Shirogane and Keiichiro Akasaka, show up to explain things to Ichigo, and they ask her to seek out the rest of the Mew Mews, meaning the other 4 girls who also experienced this strange light. Fruit and food names traded for generic American ones. If you're a hardcore fan, you probably already know the point I'm about to make. The 5 main Mew girls' names all refer to fruit or food items. Similar to the Dragon Ball naming convention, the names of these characters are all puns. For instance, Ichigo means strawberry, and unsurprisingly, Minto means mint. Then we've got Zakuro, meaning pomegranate, and additionally, can't forget about Ritasu, meaning lettuce, while Purin means pudding. This is something the editors initially planned to remove, but they went with the idea regardless, giving a funny edge to the show. Mia Ikumi even jokingly mentioned naming their character attacks similarly as well, such as Strawberry Bell Bell for Ichigo, and this addition seemed like gold to the editors, so they incorporated this aspect as well. Strangely enough, this decision added a lot more personality to the characters. On the other hand, we have the American localization, which renamed almost the entire cast of characters, downplaying the intentions of the creator. Ichigo became Zoe, Minto became Karina, Ritasu became Bridget, Purin became Kiki, Zakuro became Renee, Ryo became Elliot, and many others were changed as well. Only Blue Knight and Deep Blue retained their original names. Ichigo's entire color scheme and design were so closely tied to the word strawberry, which is nowhere near obvious to anybody who only knows her as Zoe. Every character aged up overnight. Now, you would think that age difference issues are pretty common during localization and adaptation, but the degree to which 4 kids bumped up the character's age is bigger than you might expect. Zoe goes from being 13 in the original anime to 16 in the American version. Then we've got Bridget, who was bumped from 13 to 15, Kiki being 14 instead of 11, Renee being 17 instead of 15, which means they kept her as the eldest of the group, Mark jumped from 13 to 16, Elliot from 15 to 16, and finally, the one with the biggest age difference was Karina, taking her from 12 to 16, an entire 4-year difference. These modifications changed the original storyline from being about middle schoolers to being about high schoolers, which brings about a lot of other changes to the characters' perspectives and mindsets. It might feel like a subtle change, but it kind of isn't. The only exception they made was for Keiichiro, aka Wesley, who de-aged instead of being aged up. He went from 21 all the way down to 17 and is portrayed as a rich high schooler instead. A scientist's tragic past erased into just rich kids. Ryo Shirogane isn't just some scientist who simultaneously runs a cafe, he's a certified genius, as mentioned by his late father, Dr. Shirogane. He said that Ryo's IQ was 180 at the ripe age of just 10 years old. That certainly qualifies him as a genius boy, but that was the exact same age he lost his parents, leaving him an orphan. The Mew project was initially started by Ryo's father 5 years prior to the events of Tokyo Mew Mew. Now, while the manga never addressed why or how this project started, the anime adaptation states that the doctor came across fossil remains of a particular ancient civilization during an archaeological dig, and that's how he began studying the Chimera and how to combat them through the DNA modification of humans. During all of this, one of the fossils apparently woke up, leading to an explosion in the lab where he and his wife were working, killing them both. Following this, Ryo and Keiichiro spend the rest of their lives together, continuing the research left unfinished by his father. As tragic and unfortunate as this all sounds, the American localization conveniently took this and changed the story of Ryo and Keiichiro. Mew Mew Power rewrites the characters of Elliot and Wesley as simply wealthy, science-adjacent high schoolers, with no mention of Elliot's tragic backstory, dead parents, or lab explosion, diluting them to just rich kids who run a research lab. The aliens' whole motivation got rewritten. Another upsetting point in the American version of this anime is how they changed the purpose and intent of the aliens. Well, in the original, the aliens were an ancient civilization that had once inhabited Earth and had to leave the planet due to numerous environmental catastrophes. The American version showcased a different side. Here, the aliens were called Cineclons, and they were invaders of Earth rather than reclaimers, and they originally came from another planet which had been their habitat since the beginning. Their reason for leaving that planet and coming to Earth was that they had completely exploited their planet and polluted it so badly that there seemed to be no turning point at all. It led to a massive destabilization of the planet, and when they took notice of humans and their planet Earth, they started harboring jealousy within themselves, ultimately leading to their invasion. This huge change completely rewrites the story's intent to portray the villains as more of a sympathetic, displaced group of people to more of a jealousy-obsessed race of aliens, dimming the moral complexity this show was trying to build. This decision may be influenced by humans' tendency to look for reasons to blame rather than take accountability, which is ironic, knowing how the original tried to do the opposite. Every transformation scene quietly got censored. As if changing the ages, names, and history of the characters wasn't enough, 4Kids went ahead and modified the Mew Mew girls' transformations. More specifically, Ichigo's post-DNA transformation, which previously included a glimpse of her naked body, is completely cut off, along with her silhouette and shadow, which showed her body's outline. This resulted in a two-dimensional appearance, and to compensate for this, Mew Pendant's scene was extended. Similar changes happened with Minto. The scene where the DNA is shown and her naked body is visible is cut out. Furthermore, the scene where she poses and comes out of her folded wings is also removed. To replace it, the pendant scene is shown again. Ritasu's whole scene is cut off, as most parts of it included her being naked. Instead, parts of it were shown only during certain group transformation sequences. Purin faced the most cuts, with her DNA scene cut out, along with her arm cuffs and main outfit scene. On top of all this, she's seen holding a different pose at the end as part of the changes made to her transformation sequence. But I guess at least she's shown, compared to Ritasu, who's not shown at all. For some reason, when it came to Zakuro, her naked scene was replaced by her wearing a bra and underwear before her full outfit came on, and her pose at the end is also sped up. All of this was because of the heavy censoring 4Kids employed due to Western broadcast standards, yet it was something that wasn't actually expected. A weapon redesigned because it looked like a cross. Before airing episodes in the US, 4Kids didn't forget to redesign cross-looking weapons, for example, Renee's whip-like weapon, as it was a standard content edit for the studio at the time. In the anime, Sakuro's weapon is called Zacross, and it's a small purple stick with a glowing pink heart and golden indentations. Due to its religious connotations, Mew Mew Power changed the weapon altogether and made it baton-shaped instead of cross-shaped. This wasn't a one-time thing either. 4Kids made near-identical cross edits across its other major dubs, including Yu-Gi-Oh!, so it's safe to say that this editing of religious iconography is very much a 4Kids move rather than a decision unique to this show. Not to forget, apart from Renee's weapon change, the American localization also changed the names of other characters' attacks. For instance, Zoe's attack, Rose Bell, was changed to Rose Bell Full Power. Then we have Kiki's attack, which was changed from Golden Tambourine to Tambourine Trench. And then we've got Bridget, who has 4 different attack names. Dialogue changes that built their own plot holes. Here's a clean example of what can happen when a show is written as individual episodes without a proper continuity to connect them. At one point during the dub, Karina tells Zoe that Kiki is staying at a homeless shelter, a line that was created as part of the localization process, but many episodes later, Kiki's home and siblings are actually shown on screen, directly contradicting that earlier dialogue. The writers corrected their mistake by adding that this was an assumption on Karina's part, but since she had said it out loud already, the added explanation did little to hide the continuity error in the English dub. Although this may sound like a minor thing, it actually reflects how the dub localization was compiled. The English dub's rewritten dialogue sometimes created continuity errors that weren't present in the original. A CEO that said the quiet part out loud. Around the same time the licensing deal was announced, the then 4Kids CEO, Al Khan, gave interviews where he claimed he wanted kids to never even know a show came from Japan in the first place once 4Kids localization was completed. This mission statement pretty much sums up why we can make this list at all. Renamed characters, removed Japanese signs, and a clearly visible but still entirely unnamed Tokyo. This gives us useful context for 4Kids' broader localization philosophy, although it does not by itself explain every individual edit made to the series. Let's take a look at Khan's actual quote. "I think the term anime is misleading. I think kids don't know from whence we cometh. By the time we localize the programs, kids don't even know they're from Japan anymore. We, as adults, tend to label this stuff, but kids don't really know it. Suffice to say, anime fans and viewers were not pleased. This was a blatant attempt to erase the roots of an anime origin show being broadcast in America, and that too a show that was pretty famous. Half the show never got dubbed at all. Tokyo Mew Mew, the Japanese original, ran for a whole 52 episodes spread across 2 seasons from April 6, 2002 to March 29, 2003, directed by Noriyuki Abe, while produced by TV Aichi and many others. On the other hand, Mew Mew Power, the American localization by 4Kids, ran for a mere 23 episodes in the US, although 26 of them were dubbed. The remaining 3 episodes would air in Canada and the United Kingdom, and the English dub stopped after 26 episodes. So basically, American fans couldn't even watch all the episodes of the show, neither the original 52-episode run, nor all 26 dubbed episodes. Looks like they really missed out on that one. The show's biggest twist only exists in Japanese. As mentioned previously, the second half of the show was never dubbed for Mew Mew Power. Because of this, the major plot twist, that of Ichigo's boyfriend Masaya secretly being Blue Knight and Deep Blue, wasn't even shown in the American localization. This probably sounds a little confusing, so let me break it down for those who have never seen it. Blue Knight is Ichigo's secret protector, swooping in to save her every time she's on the brink of possible death. As difficult as it is to comprehend, this was something even Masaya wasn't aware of. Masaya was clueless about being the Blue Knight and saving Ichigo. He suspects it might be the manifestation of his desire to protect his girlfriend, but as soon as he becomes aware of this transformation, he's seen collapsing, only to wake up as Deep Blue this time, his original identity as the leader of the aliens. It's revealed that Deep Blue had created Masaya as a false identity, allowing him to remain hidden until the time came for him to awaken. However, Masaya doesn't want to harm anyone, and in turn, sacrifices himself by fighting Deep Blue and releasing the potent Mew Aqua. Seeing this, Ichigo goes to revive him, subsequently losing her own life, but sadly, even that wasn't enough, because in doing so, the Mew Aqua that had remained in his body helped revive Ichigo. In the end, Deep Blue is defeated and both of them survive. All in all, the finale had emotional weight, with Masaya fighting Deep Blue to save Ichigo and her friends, even though it meant destroying himself in the process. That ending was evaded due to Ichigo and Masaya's Mew Aqua, but none of this exists in Mew Mew Power. Nothing of this sort is revealed to the American audience, and I feel that's a bit unfair. No American fan ever got an official DVD. Although it received decent ratings while it was on the air, there was never any kind of home video release for Mew Mew Power in the US. Not a single disc, not even partial seasons. When broadcast, American audiences watching on the 4Kids TV block literally only ever had access to the live television broadcast and nothing else. Let's compare the home video access US fans never got with what the rest of the English-speaking world did get. Surprisingly, the only country to ever release the complete English dub was South Africa, under the release company named GTV, with the full 26 episodes on 6 region 2PAL discs. So South African audiences got more dubbed material on media than any US resident. If we look at Australia's disc release, despite being a bit smaller, at least it happened. Manga Pacific released 2 single-disc DVDs for 10 episodes, that is, the pilot and episodes 1 through 9, in Region 4 PAL format. Apart from these instances, there's no other hint of more episodes being released on disc. Put all of that together, and it's proof that American viewers saw the fewest episodes of anyone watching the English dub, and had 0 home video options to go back and fill in the gaps or rewatch what they'd missed. The version built to specifically appeal to American audiences ended up being the version American audiences had the least actual access to, whether that's counted in episodes aired or in owning the show afterwards. A whole new sound slapped on top. The original Japanese score was composed by Takayuki Negishi, with Shin Yoshimura credited in music production, while the opening theme was My Sweetheart, and the ending theme was Koi wa a la mode. In their place, Julian Harris, then known as an accomplished composer for children's shows like Bear in the Big Blue House and The Book of Pooh, created a new score for Mew Mew Power, a series very clearly aimed away from the light and whimsical fare that the composer specialized in. The new opening theme, Team Up, was a performance piece created and rendered by Bree Sharp and Molly Weaver, the latter having played Renee in the dub. Before Mew Mew Power, Sharp was predominantly known for her singer-songwriter recordings, notably her 1999 debut album, A Cheap and Evil Girl, and 2005 roughly corresponded to when she began recording for 4Kids anime and cartoon productions exclusively. Apart from all of this, all of the insert songs were replaced with new English songs, along with some extra songs that were in scenes that didn't even have them. For instance, the Transformation songs, Zoe's theme songs, and a few others. Yet, the most prominent legacy of the dub isn't its own unique score or original opening theme, but rather the rhyming call, Mew Mew Style, Mew Mew Grace, Mew Mew Power in your face. This line's not even in the original, and it's become one of the most ridiculed writing decisions made during the 4Kids era of the series. Sadly, that's all we got for you today, but to quickly sum it up, while the Japanese anime Tokyo Mew Mew had a full 2 seasons with 52 episodes, with a tragic backstory of a scientist and a sympathetic aspect to the villain, while also retaining many of the manga's core elements, the localization by the American production house 4Kids chose a very different approach and style. While most of the storyline is the same, with characters displaying animal-based powers and fighting off aliens, the tone and reach were heavily influenced by the Western standards of editing. And to top it all off, only 23 of 26 episodes aired in the United States. However, none of this happened due to one single decision, whether we look at how the title went through several changes before being aired, how a completely different episode was aired as the premiere in Mew Mew Power, or how the transformation scores and visuals were changed. It all boils down to how Tokyo Mew Mew is a good case study for seeing how a kids show can be rewritten, renamed, and have several scenes completely cut out, all in the name of Western editing. Don't forget to let us know which version of the show you preferred and which difference surprised you the most in the comment section down below. And don't forget to like and subscribe to this channel if you want to see more videos like this. Otherwise, thanks for watching, stay safe out there, and we'll see you next time.